Okay, so I've already done a video on this, and I went through quite a long ways, and then I learned that the microphone wasn't actually recording. So we're going to start over again. What was interesting is I had been playing around trying to reproduce the problems that I originally had, and I couldn't. They were, I was doing scanning testing for the OCR. It has a feature for text to speech, so it scans the image, and it goes through, turns it into text, and it reads the text. But I can copy and paste that text. And so I did some tests and they worked fine. But my original impression of this was awful. So I'm going to go through and see if I can reproduce any of that experience at all. So first, to talk about the software itself. Aside from you saw the interface just vanished there. My first impression was to pull it up and, oh my God, it's one of these ugly things. I really, really despise these. Oh, everybody wants to be their own special program. I just don't. I think that's unnecessary and confusing, and I don't like it at all. So this is a column on the left-hand side that we can see that has, it's a reproduction of the buttons on the column of the stand that the VZ-R comes with. Now, that's totally unnecessary because I have the buttons on the stand that the VZ-R comes with. But the visualizer software is also made for at least one other lesser variety of document cameras that doesn't have that. But the thing is, that lineup of buttons, that column is not the same as what I'm looking at on the actual stand. It's in some shuffled other order, which is really dumb, really dumb. I also see some other features over here, like the light. Okay, fine, I can turn the light on and off. That button should be over here. I can freeze the image, which is new for this for other reasons that I'll get into. The grid lines are really, really handy, like really handy. I don't know why I would need 3 different modes. And the autofocus, which should be over here alongside everything else. You might have heard a little beep. That beep is optional and can be turned off. Okay, so my first impression, aside from the terrible interface, let's forget. I didn't even touch anything, and the interface just went away. Stop that. Was that I clicked down here, and the entire window went black. And I don't know what was up with that, but that's happened multiple times, and I've just had to close the program down. Okay, on with the show. So as you can see, I'm going to be quite forgiving. My original test was like so. Actually, my original test, I didn't realize you could actually click to get rid of the interface. I just discovered that today. So my original was like, okay, well, I want to scan like that. Okay, that's pretty good. Nice clear font, good lighting. I have my lamp on over there. And the text-to-speech feature gives it a moment. Okay. So it's picking up junk, and it's picking up that junk because it's seeing, not that you can see it right now. You can see just up here that it's got a little bit of the graphic up at the top, so it's just being interpreted as garbage, which is reasonable. And the text is good. I mean, it's between good and great. I don't like the fact that I happen to hate hyphens. I think it's a terrible way to do things. Now, I like that it picks up the hyphens here, although it doesn't respect the line endings properly. So I can imagine having this text presented in 2 ways. One is literal. Let me just get rid of this window. So one is literal. So if you look here, it starts with not, it ends with row hyphen. A version of this that is true to what I'm looking at here would actually have every single line being just like that. Okay, so including these trailing hyphens, and there would be a carriage return after the word most, and there would definitely be another paragraph, and there would be a tab here, and it would know the tab characters because it knows what a book is. Okay, and I can't forgive it not understanding italics. I would really like that. I would in fact like it translated into a markup language like Markdown, something like that. So maybe that's a second mode, and a flowed mode where it actually takes this and it makes it all one line. So that's all. This paragraph is all one line, and then this paragraph is all one line, just like you would type in a regular text file. I would like that, but the fact is this mode is made. I have to rescan it to get back to that window. This mode is made for text-to-speech, and you'll notice how it's different. I don't think I moved the book around very much. This is made for text-to-speech. So if I were to get down like here,
and enhance the imagination of young and old. For among this familiar and timeless collection of the
okay, so timeless, not timeless. And is it seeing
enchanting PEOPLE in places?
Okay, see what it did there. So it doesn't understand hyphen endings, which is I would consider that a problem. Obviously, the voice is bad, stuff like that. So would this be useful for somebody who, for example, if I wanted to, there are little handheld devices that can take pictures of stuff that the blind can use for reading stuff, and they're specialized for this, and they'd be better at this. This requires a sighted person to use the interface, and I suppose I could do that for somebody and then have them listen to it at like double and triple speed, and that process is faster than me speaking it. But frankly, the only purpose I think this can realistically have is me scanning in and getting the text and copying it out. In my case, putting into subtitles. And I'd never want the machine to actually read it for me. That is just cold. Okay, so this is decent conditions. Text is scanning fine. Now this is the other thing I learned. Okay, it's a little bit crooked. Okay, fine. Maybe it's too much. Okay, that's good. And my original attempts, it just went wrong. Okay, this is good. A little bit the other way. Okay, complete garbage. Like complete garbage doesn't even pretend to get much text at all. Just blankness. Got the word princes and gnomes. Nice. Okay, so this is unforgiving for crooked text. That's why it's got a grid lines feature. I get it. Okay, this is okay. So grid lines. Now the annoyance is I actually want the grid lines over here. I want them on either extreme end, just inset a little bit because I'm going to use a book. That's what this is supposed to be for. And the fact is this interface is widescreen and my book is not. So if I were to zoom out, so first, if I were to zoom out, let's get an authentic piece of text in here. Okay, now the reason I'm going to get into why, but I'm choosing this page because there's nothing over here. There's something over here. Now, I'm going to take my hand out of the way, but you're going to see that there's shadowing and curves and stuff like this. Okay, now I already know that I have to be careful about crookedness. So let's see what happens here. Okay, that's complete garbage. I mean, I see some words sometimes, but like honestly, should not the software know that you don't? I'm not reading a technical manual for programmers that it's going to find brackets and slashes everywhere. Honestly. Okay, so that's useless. Now maybe what I had discovered previously is I have to be a little bit more specific. Zoom in a little. Okay, now this is resembling it. I mean, there's not nearly as good as it was earlier. This is the other thing I learned. Okay, now I'm not even holding that page down. Now I had learned earlier, like look at this, sideways. I didn't pull it out or anything like that, just turn it sideways. Look at that. That is great. It'd be nice if the software told me that I should be doing something like that, because I just discovered that by mistake. Okay, I'm just using the button to zoom this time. Two times. Okay. Pretty good. Okay, let's try not zooming out. It's our handy dandy button here. Oh, it's quite a bit more specific here than just buttons on the device. Okay, I zoom out, I get meh. Okay, now here's the challenge. Under most circumstances, I'd be reading like this. And under the best conditions, I would expect it to be able to scan the whole thing like, I'm just going to move it. I mean, I've got my keyboard and stuff, so I'm not going to try to have it OCR one of the other things over here. So this is kind of like what a moderately computer illiterate person would do. So they're like, okay, and I try this, and I know it's not going to work. I just know it because I see a shadow across one side of the book. My thumb is there, this kind of stuff. But what am I going to do? Am I going to put a piece of glass over top of this? I don't carry one around. Okay. I see some words. That isn't even close to all of the text. Then they got up, opened. Oh no. This ends with those are triumphal salutes. Those are salutes because we have eluded our prince, said the eldest. Like, this isn't even giving remotely the volume of text. Even if it's misunderstanding letters, it's not useful at all. Okay. So I might say, okay, well, obviously that shadow is a problem. This is really not helping, but, you know, who knows? Fine. I have to use my thumb, and if my thumb is a problem, then this software is too stupid. Does it work? Is it worse? You know, I should probably do this. Is that worse? There's no scroll bar here. Why can't I can't just... I like that it picks up that. The youngest cried out. All is not well. That... Ugh. Did you hear that sound? Why does not understand the paragraph break? Those are the triumphal salutes because we have eluded our prince, said the eldest. Okay. I'm pretty sure that is not the complete volume of text. Okay, so we have some serious problems making this bloody useless. Okay, sideways, one page at a time. Maybe I'll use the handy... No, I can't use the handy zoom in. I'm just going to do this. Pop it off the screen. No. Light is off. Text is not recognized. Physically move it in because I don't want to use the silly zoom buttons. Now, if I were reading this off and I wanted to quickly text to speech it, and I didn't want it to be a big hassle, I would absolutely not want to do this. Okay, look at that. And brought out their beautiful dresses. Wow. Okay, so that's soldier. So why is it? Things cried out. Oh, not well. Okay. So I mean, for some reason, turning it sideways and getting one page at a time is moderate. But yeah, that's. I would sooner. I have a very nice flatbed scanner over here that cost me next to nothing. Brand new, next to nothing. So if I were to get the VZ-R, if I were to, instead of the VZ-R, if I were to get a webcam, I'd have better performance as a webcam. I could tilt it over if I've got a monitor arm. It's still not costing more than the VZ-R. And if I were to also buy a scanner, I would probably be reaching the price of the VZ-R. And if I were to have a scanner, I would absolutely get excellent text consistently. But this is great. This is already great. But it would be a sight more convenient for me to use a scanner to get a book, whatever pages I needed as images, and then run a third-party program to do text to speech or to do OCR. So, and that would cost money for decent stuff. So already I'm looking at what the VZ-R is an all-in-one kind of thing, so it's more quote-unquote convenient, it's portable. It is of course a challenge to manipulate a book, to move it around, to change pages, to get to, you saw me playing with the arm. So that's kind of annoying, but okay, fine. I mean, so far I suppose I have to give the VZ-R a pass. The next feature that I wanted to use out of the VZ-R was you saw I was taking snapshots essentially to take the image that it's seeing, the video that it's seeing, and turn it into a picture, and that picture gets OCR'd, and then that gets text to speech. Okay, but what if I just want to take the picture? There's a scanning feature that's here, which I don't even know why it's called anything. Okay, so what I want to look at is something called Twain. Now I've got another program that I prefer, like I vastly prefer over this, like by far, because it's just a straightforward interface and it's open source software, which I prefer, pardon me, say free and open source. So I wanted to use it with this. So I'm going to do another quick video showing scanning. Not that these are quick videos, sorry.